Ready? All right.
Don't miss a meeting.
don't miss a
meeting.
Good evening. I now call the Winton Woods Board of Education regular meeting to order. It is 6:30 p.m. on Monday, May 23rd, 2016. I would like to ask that you turn off all your electronic devices, at least to silent or vibrate for us. And please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We got one. All right. Mr. Seymour, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Birdie?
Present.
Dr. Johnson?
Present.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Present.
Mrs. Ruggless?
Present.
Mrs. Miranda?
Present. Our first item on the agenda this evening is our district honors, recognitions, gifts, and introductions. Mr. Superintendent, you have the floor.
Yes, Madam President and Board. I'm just excited that we had a chance to visit the Primary North Art Gallery. And so we have some recipients. We're going to start with the honorable mention. Nafria Pitts. Nafira, thank you. Come on up, Miss Pitts. I'm in the kidnapping business. So. Wow. Beautiful. Incredible. That beautiful picture was picked out of like about 500 entries. The next honorable mention is Keon Russell. Kaylee Sanchez. Wow. Let me see that one again. This reminds me of superintendent just before board meeting. There you go. The principal selection is Ariana Harrison. So the principal selected this art piece. Ariana not here. And then here's the superintendent selection. Jackson Braswell. Not here? Okay. If he comes in, we'll make sure. Okay. The next part of our program is the Kiwanis Characters Key Perseverance. And this person was selected because of their perseverance. And the representative from the Kiwanis Club, come on up, Bill. So I'm going to read a little bit about the recipient. Is Mike Dush here? Okay. All right, I'm going to read about him. Yes. So this is written by Kennedy Hillman. I'm writing this letter on behalf of Mikey Dush. I had the pleasure of being Mikey's third grade teacher this year. He demonstrates commitment, pride, and a positive attitude in completing a task in the classroom. Michael works extremely hard without giving up. He is always respectful, responsible, and safe. He is truly a warrior. He's a great example of how a third grader should be. His kindness, caring attitude, and perseverance this year has been contagious. I have no doubt that he would be an excellent candidate for the Kiwanis Characters Key Award for Perseverance. Mikey Dush.
The award says, in special recognition of your outstanding character traits, within the character of an individual lies the welfare of the nation. It is character that enables the individual to survive, to endure, and to transcend the negatives. Your values reflect your commitment to be a student of good character to your peers, your teachers, your parents, and your community. Congratulations.
I know sometimes when we're giving out the awards and recognitions, I know people may think that it takes a lot of time, but I read every single word of these recognitions because I think it's very important that we recognize our young people the appropriate way. So just bear with me. Some of these are small dissertations, but they're fine. Alexis. Alexis, your last name is Weedy? Y. That's what I said. Yes. Alexis Y. I'm proud to nominate Alexis as Winton Woods Student of the Month. Alexis is a current sophomore taking all honors classes at Winton Woods High School. Her entire academic career has been in the Winton Woods City Schools District. Since the beginning of Alexis' academic career, achieving excellence has been very important to her. In kindergarten, Alexis earned the plus sign in all areas of learning, which meant consistently demonstrating understanding to E for excellence in grade 1s to A's and B's from elementary through middle school, and finally finishing her freshman year and maintaining a 3-point GPA of 3.6. Alexis is respected by both teachers and students. She's a role model student by demonstrating great interactions with her classmates, teachers, and administrators. Alexis comes from a very supportive family. I've had the pleasure of watching her grow to be a very charming young lady. She's been involved in many church activities that involve the youth since she could walk. If anyone came to Quinn Chapel AME Church on the corner of Southland and Sharon Roads, that looks like some advertisement, doesn't it? You would hear Alexis' amazing voice in the youth choral assembly on the fourth Sunday of every month. On occasion, you might view her performing as a praise dancer or playing the piano, or even see her in costume passing out candy for the church's version of Trunk or Treat. When Alexis has downtime, she is on stage either singing or performing in musicals. Besides singing in church, Alexis has been a member of Winton Woods Vocal Ensemble from elementary school to high school. She performed in middle school vocal ensembles and musicals. As a freshman, Alexis made her high school debut as a quarter's wife in The Music Man. This year, Alexis was a delightful and witty fairy godmother in Cinderella. Wow. Alexis' musical talents has afforded her participation in 2 top-performing groups this year, Varsity Ensemble and A Cappella. She has been a member of the Winton Woods Gospel Keys for 2 years. She also earned the top musical award as a freshman. During the football season, Alexis plays flute in the marching band. For the remainder of the year, Alexis is a member of the symphonic band. Yes, she is also so talented. As I stated earlier, she is a star academician. As a freshman, Alexis received the Academic Achievement Award for earning a 3.5 or higher all year. She also received honor roll every quarter freshman year and this year. In March 2016, Alexis received the Community School Achievement Committee Award for earning a 3.0 or higher GPA during the second semester of her freshman year and a 3.5 at the end of the first semester of this current school year. Alexis has earned the honor to be the Student of the Month because of all the great things she has accomplished. Her character and overall personality shines as bright as all of her accomplishments. Whenever I see her in class, Alexis is always engaged with her classmates, working on projects, or just having a great conversation. I often see her in class explaining concepts to her classmates that may need a better understanding of ideas. She is such a great role model, an ambassador for our school and school district. I am fortunate to have her on my roster as her counselor. One other thing that I'd like to add that's not in Ms. Gowen's description of Alexis, I've been in the high school many times, and your mom, you would be very, very proud of the way she handles herself in the school. You would be a very, very proud parent. So thank you for sending her to Winton Woods, and we're excited that you have all of these talents. Where did you get all this talent from? Okay, so I know the board wanted to do this. So Mom, why don't you come up and sing us a song? No. we have to see if you're ready for this kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. This certificate is presented to Alexis in special recognition of her selection as the Gold Star Kiwanis Student of the Month of May, and for Winton Woods High School for outstanding academic achievement, enthusiasm, and commitment to service in the community and your school district. And maybe the fun part is the gift certificate for the Gold Star.
She thinks she's going to have to sing that song.
Maybe we could get a duet.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Okay.
While I'm here, Mr. Superintendent, I'm going to steal a couple minutes. We have something that we would like to say thank you to Mr. Smith for taking a time out of his busy schedule to come to our Kiwanis Club meeting and tell us what's going on in the school district. And it gives us a better understanding of some exciting sounding things that are happening in the school district the next couple of years. So we have a speaker's tile, Kiwanis guest speaker, Green Hills Forest Park. Kiwanis is a global organization of volunteers dedicated to changing the world one child and one community at a time. And we sure do thank you for taking the time to help us understand your school district.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Now, I'm going to put this one with the other 40 ones that I have like this. No, this is the first one. This is the first one.
Sealed so you could use it as a coaster or a paperweight or whatever.
Yes, sir. I'll just come. All right, thank you very much. Our next recipient, one of our people just walked in. Where is Ariana Harrison? That's absolutely incredible. You know, some of the young people are not quite used to, they understand their art, they understand the purpose, they understand how precise their work has to be, but they don't understand that we keep that artwork until they graduate. So they want to take their art back with them, and we're saying, no, not yet. Not yet. All right, our next recipient, Skyline Student Athlete of the Month, Brianna Richard. Junior. That means she has some more competitions. Junior Brianna Richard was named Winton Woods City Schools Skyline Student of the Athlete of the Month for May. Brianna participates in varsity volleyball and track and has a weighted GPA of a 3.76. She has received many accolades for her track performances and has represented Winton Woods in the state tournament. Brianna is also a strong participant in Junior Olympics and has brought home 12 medals in her years of competition. Oh, that's awesome. Looks like Brianna brought home one more medal than me. I only brought home 11. Okay. Brianna is a student athlete who sets high expectations in the classroom and on the field of competition, said athletic director David Lumpkin. She realizes that her success in both is dependent on her excellent work ethic. To be nominated for the Skyline Student Athlete of the Month, students must maintain an academic standard of 3.0 or above, show respect for coaches, teammates, officials, teachers, and other students and family, show enthusiasm and a positive attitude, display commitment to practice, games, and personal skill development, demonstrate honesty and playing by the rules, have high moral character. The Student Athlete of the Month is sponsored by the Forest Park Skyline, a business partner of Winton City Schools, and students will also receive a $20 Skyline gift card. Thank you, Brianna. Okay, so they kind of love what I'm doing, I guess. All right, so our next recipient is the Skyline Teacher of the Month, Miss Amy McCann. I'm going to read this great stuff about you. Is that okay? All right. So it says, I would like to nominate Miss Amy McCann from Primary North for our Teacher of the Month. Miss McCann is the epitome of what it means to have a growth mindset, as she is always pushing herself to improve. Even with the great academic performance results that our students obtain, she always talks about improving. She is constantly refining her practice. She takes advantage of opportunities to see her colleagues teaching as well as visiting classrooms this year. She's open about the fact that everyone has a strength and that we can all learn from each other. Amy spends her summers continuing to read, research, and to refine her pedagogical practice as she sets specific goals for herself each year. This year, before the year began, she came to me and gave me a list of her goals, and she asked me to hold her accountable. As you can imagine, she is meeting and exceeding her goals. Amy is solution-focused, recognizing problems and then identifying ways to solve them. Amy also is a leader in our building as she guides the KG team as the literacy grade level leader. She works hand in hand with our instructional coaches to maximize student academic outcomes. Ms. McCain is a blessing to our students as she uses many data points to target student development and to monitor their progress. She has an engaging classroom and does a great job communicating with families. She takes time throughout the year to send home positive postcards commending her students on their growth as learners. Amy McCain is a true professional, and she has a great attitude, and her students' academic and personal growth are her first priority. Thank you. Oh. See, the little people can get away. Why do you do what you do?
Why?
Yes.
Because of the kids. That's it. Yeah. Somebody told me I was going to have to be on the spot. Really, that's it.
All right.
That's why I'm here.
Is that
That's
enough,
it.
folks, for the kids? Yes.
Thank you.
The Extra Mile Parent Award. This goes to Lisa Boyd and Hillary Brock. This is from Michelle Kozlowski, drama teacher, or drama director. When I think of all that Lisa Boyd and Hillary Brock have done for our fine arts students, there are many things that come to mind. Lisa has coordinated advertising for the show programs and has organized, ordered, brought in food for the concessions. Hillary has served as the parent volunteer coordinator for the fall play and the musical, including a coordinating printing of posters, t-shirts for the students, and their distribution. As if administering those tasks was not enough, both have done the following through the years: served on the Performing Arts Boosters Board, organized and ordered awards, ran the drama awards, even including fresh refreshments and programs, coordinating the pizza artwork night for t-shirts, poster design, coordinated food for parent and community volunteers during show week, ran concessions for both fall play and musical, provided pizza and other refreshments for Final Circle, the post-musical celebration event for the cast, helped to advertise the show within the district and the community, printed programs, printed pictures of the performance for the kids to have as keepsakes. It's overwhelming to think of the holes that will need to be filled as Lisa and Hillary both graduate from being high school parents, but we will always appreciate the time, talents, and energy that they've poured into supporting the fine arts program and students. Lisa Boyd and Hillary Brock have truly gone the extra mile as invaluable parents, and here's the superintendent's response. They both agreed to stay another 20 years. So thank you for everything that you do and everything that you've done, and of course for her, because she's one of our shining stars. The other parent, she's not here?
She's not here.
Okay, so you get the spotlight. You will be back.
All right.
Okay, everybody get a picture of that. She will be back for the next what?
At least one. At least 1 year.
Okay, all right, very good. That means a year and a half. Our next parent award is Kaylee Lumpkin. Say it again. I said Callie Lumpkin. You know, I'm not easily intimidated, but when I got the name wrong and Mr. Lumpkin gave me that look, that made me a little nervous. Callie is an unsung hero. She will do anything for anyone. She started her volunteering for the athletic department in Boosters over 6 years ago at the middle school when her son Jalen was a freshman. Mrs. Lumpkin joined the Winton Woods Athletic Boosters as vice president. Ms. Sherman, a longtime athletic booster member, remembers that her first impression of Kaylee was at the Ultimate Warrior Women's Fundraiser when she slid head first to win the relay race.
That's dedication.
Wow.
That is dedication.
It was, and in quotes it says, "This was only for fun." Wow. Okay. Ms. Sherman realized that she was a keeper. Her motto is go big or go home. She's organized football run fundraisers, including the following: Warrior Football Circus, popcorn, yard sale, football dinners, cooked and served, all banquets, and she has helped with the golf outing as well. She has been at every concession event we've had over the past 2 years, and this includes all seasons. You can thank Ms. Lumpkin for her chicken and fries, which she added to the concession menu, and she was instrumental in the purchase of the funnel cake machine. Let me try that again. She is instrumental in the purchase of the funnel cake machine. Did you hear what the people said? Everybody back there. She is truly the best and is committed to our student athletes. Without Kaylee, the boosters would not be here where they are today. Thank you very, very much for having me here. This was written by Kim Sherman, president of the Athletic Boosters. Next award, The Community Spirit Award, Ken and Linda Schultz. When asked what Kent and Linda Schultz do to help our student athletes at Winton Woods High School and Middle School, the reply was quick. Jeff Merrill, athletic director of the middle school, said anything. They take care of all the odds and ends. Winton Woods High School athletic director David Lumpkin said both of them will work extra hours to make sure everything gets done. They'll fill in if someone is running late or volunteer if we need a person to help out. You can count on them. Both Kent and Linda work behind the scenes to make sure our athletic events are well run and well heard. That meant that medals are on hand, stats are taken, and tickets are sold. Ken is the familiar voice you hear at Winton Woods football game and soccer games and at track meets, while Linda is there taking the stats. Either as a team or singularly, they also organize team meets and medals, help with ticket sales, organize sports awards, announce work the scoreboard, do stats for the girls basketball, announce and do stats for the middle school's annual cross-country event, help with stats on the field at away football games, take care of site management for the stadium, clean the ticket booth, football storage, help redo the athletic office, and this list could go on. Kent and Linda are the proud parents of 2 Winton Woods High School graduates and have chosen to continue to donate their time and talents to the district. We thank them for the many years they have supported our student athletes and our athletic staff. Their generous service to our district and our community is the reason they're receiving the May Community Spirit Award. Kent and Linda Schultz. Thank you. Thank you very much. A lot of times, I think when we have all these activities and events and things are organized, people forget that there are a lot of people behind the scenes that make this work what it is. So we appreciate all the volunteers. We thank you very much, even though some of your children have transitioned on, that you stay with us, and make sure you let your mom know she gave us like 20 more years, okay? All right. Those are all the...
Kiana Jackson didn't walk in.
Kiana Jackson.
Kiana Jackson?
Did not walk in. That's it. Those are all the gifts and awards, Madam President and Board.
Thank you, Superintendent. All right, at this time, we'll take a 5-minute recess. Oh,
wait.
maybe not.
Where's Kay Robinson?
Not here?
Okay, I'll just do a real quick piece. Kay was awarded the Excellence Educator Award. And each year, every district picks a recipient, and Kay was our unanimous winner. So when you see her, we had a great celebration for the central office group, awarded her with flowers, and we came and just kind of took over her classroom, and it was an incredible event. She was very, very surprised and honored, and her kids were absolutely ecstatic. So when you see her, she was recognized at the Sharonville Convention Center as one of the educators of the year, and that's our math teacher, Kay Robinson. So remember.
Congratulations again to our students and staff. We'll now take a 5-minute recess. All right. We are now back in session. At this time, we're going to go to 4.01 in our agenda for public comments. And Barb Flanagan, you're up first.
Good evening. At the last school board meeting, Mr. Smith, you discussed a new tool that they'll be using, hopefully using in the school in the upcoming year. I'm wondering if all the children will have laptops in the school.
Yes. I thought there was more.
Oh, I can add more. But
2 more minutes.
Oh, okay. I'm very curious to know that, whether or not all the children, because you talked about Wi-Fi isn't available in Forest Park.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm curious to know if that means that some of the children will be eliminated from having laptops to take home for study.
No child will be eliminated that opportunity.
No child in the school will be eliminated.
We will make sure that all the children have the technology. Yes, ma'am. We're just trying to work on the Wi-Fi situation.
Have we decided whether or not that that this Wi-Fi will be created, how it will become about?
Well, we don't create the contract. We're actually hoping that some people work with us to create that opportunity for the entire community, not just for Winton Woods.
Okay, thank
If
you.
you know some people, that would be great.
Oh, I do. I'll do
Okay.
that. Give me an address and a name to submit it to.
Absolutely. There she is right there. There he is right there. Thank you.
Joy Sutherland?
Good evening, Superintendent, board members. Yes. I have to speak loud because I can't get to the mic.
Bring the mic to you.
Yes. Yes. Hi. It was a good night to come to the board meeting. We got to see those children recognized for all their excellent talents that they have. That's only a taste of what we have here in Winton Woods District. But tonight I'm coming on a different note. Speaking on bullying, I have a fourth grader who has been suffering from bullying in our district. But this bullying comes from a different wave, someone you wouldn't even think about. I wrote this so I can remember. I want you to hear what I wrote. It says, my little girl has been bullied since she has been in the first grade. Her third grade year of school started out with kids bullying, but the leader stepped in and said no. But our kids bully from a learned behavior. From where? Home, friends, but have you considered the teacher? Fourth grade, my daughter starts a new year. New grade, new teacher, new leaders, bully. Who? Didn't know right away, just watched her behavior. Just listened to her coming home telling me, my teacher did this, my teacher said this. First meeting with the teacher. Second meeting. Third meeting. Fourth. Why so many meetings with your teacher? Hey, principal, don't you think something? Why does this parent keep calling about this teacher? Don't you hear what I'm telling you? You, Miss Principal, have not sat in a meeting yet 4 times. The school year is over. Where are you, Principal? Where is your responsibility? Protection for your students. Support. Leadership comes with passion. Do you have it? I write this to let you know about the bully in the school, the teacher. I wrote that because my daughter's experiencing bullying from her teacher this year. My thing about the teacher, choose your battles. She wants to intimidate because my daughter's handwriting is not one she wants to see. She writes a number 1, like you would see on a professional letter or on a calendar. She tells her, if I see any ones written like this again, I'm marking it all wrong, and your whole paper will be wrong, and I will not let you redo it again. Choose your battle. I had to practice the way she writes her 4. My daughter's been writing since she was 9 months old. She writes a 4 in cursive. I had to practice real hard. How do you do that? It does look like an 8. And I told her, I said, well, I understand why she's saying don't write your 4 like that because it looks like an 8. Make it more crisp. Choose your battles. Teachers. Now, I want to go into her next year, 5th grade. She's excited to go to the intermediate school. Possibly Miss Robinson may be her math teacher, I don't know. But we know Miss Robinson to be very structured, very strict. Ooh. You know, choose your battles, teachers. We have to watch. We watched all the children getting their accolades for accommodations. Yes, she got an accommodation superintendent's award as well for her artwork. Wonderful. Does that mean she's a bad child? She gets in school detention because I'm not understanding what you're saying. Anybody else don't understand? Sophia seems not to understand this. She was taught, if you don't understand what the teacher is telling you, raise your hand until you get it. Understanding. No, she's not one of my honor roll students, but she can be if she's not intimidated. It takes our teachers to build our students up, such as the young lady, my athlete of the year, 3.7, are you kidding me? That is wonderful. It doesn't just come from home. It also comes from school, our second institute. I want you to know we need to change our climate, our community. Winton Woods District, our parents are very concerned. Have you wondered why our parents are pulling our children out of the schools? Our teachers. Back up your students. Know who they are. Know why they learn the way they learn. It's not about just, oh, this child won't be still. Why won't they be still? I watched a child in the classroom cry the whole day. I sat in the classroom the whole day. This little girl's crying because she said, give me that pencil. Give it to me. The baby started crying. I told her, I said, you need to check on what's going on with that baby. Why is she crying? Because you took her pencil. Choose your battles, teachers. Choose your battles. Thank you.
Thank you. Tim Cleary?
Good evening, Board. Thank you for letting me give my report under the public comment sections, and I have a public comment as well. Board, at your desk, I've put a kind of a condensed version of the Great Oaks, the last month in what's been going on at Great Oaks for the last month. The year is coming to an end there as well. There's been 4 graduations, so last week there were 4 graduations to go to instead of 1. That's a lot of graduations. I don't know if you saw this article in the Enquirer, but there was a recent article that discussed the subject of college versus technical training. It took a look at the 2020 Regional Jobs Outlook and a study by the Federal Reserve. Local experts in workforce development said that the discussion needs to change. Students and families need to look at what skills are needed to enter an occupation and what skills are needed to advance. At the Great Oaks, we call it a pathway. The industry calls it a continuum of education. Graduates also need to consider what occupations are in demand, as well as what are their personal aptitudes. 2 of the fastest growing sectors right now are healthcare and IT. These are excellent examples of pathways where students can find employment in advance as they learn more skills. President in NKU, Jeff Means' quotes included here, there's too much of a discussion on the choice between a high school diploma and a college degree. The answer is probably pathway programs, stackable certifications, and 4-year degrees that are responsive to economic demands. The high cost of college and college dropout rates, what the industry needs is a different conversation, and we as board members need to help facilitate that with some of our students and staff. It happens at the Great Oaks. It may not perk down into the local school districts, and that some people have a misconception of what career tech is. Next item in my board packet, Mrs. Ruggles had asked me for some data on enrollment last month, so I've included the date of what programs our students have been in that potentially just graduated, as well as our newcomers for next month. So hopefully that is good information. It's kind of unusual that I would put this in here, but I looked under the Winton Woods Board docs to see what our career tech policy was. And I just happened to notice that this is probably the year that that gets reviewed by the board. So I included a copy of that in the packet, because there's some programming changes that have occurred, and that document may need to be updated. Three of our past students at Great Oaks were involved with the Navy Junior ROTC program. They've been awarded an Achievement Advancement Award for the 2015 school year. This award goes only to the top echelon of all national ROTC units, and is the 5th consecutive year that Scarlet Oaks has earned the award. Scarlet Oaks ROTC has had an extraordinary year. The rifle team reached new heights and is currently ranked #1 in Southern Ohio and Northern Kentucky, and is 8th in the 7-state Navy Junior ROTC area. I had the opportunity to go up to Camp Perry up north and see our students competing in riflery up there. It was really impressive. Our students are really committed, and they're jazzed about the things that the opportunities that are created through the ROTC program. A reminder that there are still slots available for the Great Oaks Summer Camp. It starts June the 6th, but the door's closing quickly, so if there's anyone out there in the audience, you can reach out to Great Oaks, greatoaks.com or greatoaks.gov, and still sign your student up. With that, that's my abbreviated document. And I spent the time, this is under public comments, I spent some time putting together what I wanted to communicate, and it dawned on me that my writing style and my communication style is such that a lot of times I want to say something and I want to give the facts and the data and what I'm saying, and so maybe the message would be lost. So I'm going to kind of give you a condensed version of this document, and then I'll try and get a copy off to one of the board members. In 1997, Teresa and I purchased a vehicle, and we still have it today. It's 19 years old. And if you looked at it, you'd look at it and you'd say, man, that thing still looks brand new. Man, it has been worn to death. I kept it polished, kept it clean, have maintained it this whole time, thousands and thousands of hours on this piece of equipment, on this vehicle. But there are some things that you don't see, some of the internal things, some of the structure of the vehicle. The vehicle's kind of lived beyond its usefulness, but when you look at it, you don't see that. And this brings me to the state of Ohio has changed the calculation of how they would fund schools within our school district. I wish that there was a program like that for my next vehicle. That funding calculation has changed in that the state's willing to give us almost 50 cents on the dollar for an investment. And I realize that past board has brought this to the voters, and the voters rejected it twice. I understand that, and they rejected it for many, many, many reasons. But the fact is still the same today as it was then. We've outstripped the life and the capacity of some of our buildings. You know, there are kind of three components I think that the community looks at, and we even looked at, or you look at as board members. You know, health and safety. Are our buildings safe? And I don't want to say that they're not safe, but by current standards, they're not safe. There's no sprinkler system. There still is asbestos flooring. There's asbestos piping in the boiler rooms. Fire alarms and emergency systems, or fire alarms and emergency systems in some cases don't meet the code today. They met the code when they were installed. In some of those cases, there's not bilingual capacity. So if there was a fire and emergency, in today's standards, it would be a voice system. It wouldn't be a beep, beep, beep that maybe some new student doesn't know what beep, 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 beep means. The security in the entrance of our buildings, while we've locked the doors, when somebody comes and knocks, we still let them in. So there's not a good security protocol there because the buildings weren't designed for that kind of security protocol. Our systems being the mechanical, like the HVAC and the electrical and the plumbing. Mr. Denny, I know, has produced reports and have shown that A lot of those have lived past their capacity. We're starting to jackhammer and cut up concrete floors because the piping was in the floor and the piping has rotted away completely. And how it's generally noticed is there's an odor that comes up, and then somebody's got to do an exploratory and figure out, okay, well, what do we patch or what do we fix? Well, if the pipe is rusted and leaked, or in my case, my vehicle, when the structure is bad, it's bad everywhere. There might be one spot where it's worse, but it's bad everywhere. And that system is bad in a lot of our buildings, middle school in particularly. The last item is program upgrades. You know, are we really truly supporting the programs and our initiatives through the physical structures that we have? You know, I don't think we are. You know, many teaching spaces, you walk into it and you can see that it's just not quite a fit. We've converted closets into offices. We've taken dead-end hallways and converted those into teaching areas or study areas. We've tried to use absolutely every square foot that we could use in a meaningful way, and we've been able to do that. And I think we've done that somewhat effectively. But it doesn't change the case that these are really old buildings, and they've quickly reached the end of their life. This is probably an opportune time for the board to consider putting this back on the ballot and re-engaging the community to see, well, what is the community's appetite with a 50% savings? What are they willing to do? I think most community members would understand. Now, before, when it was the full gambit and almost the full gambit, and the community had to pay 75% roughly, an additional 25% off is kind of how it would work out. I know it's difficult for many community members that are on fixed incomes.
I hate to cut you off, Mr. Cleary, but you've allotted the
I'm
amount
sorry.
of time. If you want to just wrap it up with one
Yeah.
final point, please go ahead.
Please consider. I challenge the Board of Education to consider bringing this back before the community for a potential vote in November. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry I went over.
Okay, we will move on to 5.01, approval of minutes as attached. Board, unless you see any necessary changes to these minutes, a motion would be in order.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call the vote?
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously, and we'll move into the treasurer's report. Mr. Seymour, you have the floor.
Through the month of April, we had total revenues to date in the general fund of $40.4 million, with expenditures at $37.6 million, giving us a budget savings right at the end of the month of 4%, or roughly $1.7 million. This time last year, we were running slightly higher than that, but we have new things that we're working on this year to bring in for next year. Also, the total unencumbered fund balance was $19 million, of which $18.4 was the general fund, and I guess that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour. Any questions, comments on that report? Seeing none, with no objections being heard, let the financial report for the month of April be submitted to audit. Next item, back to you, Mr. Seymour, for your recommendations.
For our investments, we had $14.7 million invested with interest of $7,235.
Board, a motion would be in order on this one.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the investment report as presented.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call that vote?
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. 7.02, Mr. Seymour? Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
8.01, we're over to you, Mr. Superintendent.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I was waiting for Mr. Seymour to give my report. I'm excited. Okay, well, you'll notice there are a variety of activities that are happening in the schools, but there's one that I'd like for everybody to really pay close attention to, and that's the upcoming graduation. And Mr. Martin and also Ms. Hodges-Davis would hope that every board member would attend and be part of the ceremony, because I think you're going to have a glorious time. It will begin at 7:30 promptly. Mr. Martin is going to walk through the tunnel at 7:30 on the dot. The music will start regardless if anybody is in that line. So I just want to let you know he is very serious about it. That was not for you, Dr. Johnson. I know you will be in that line. Okay. So there are other things that are happening, but there's a real exciting event, and I'm hoping that someone can attend. I will be in attendance. This is at the intermediate school. There's a firefighter luncheon in a multi-purpose room. That's tomorrow. So keep that in mind. They want to recognize the firefighters for all of their contributions and hard work. So that building is always thinking about the next level, how to give back to the community. And I think that starts at an early age. So kudos to Mr. Day and his team.
Thank you, Superintendent. We'll now move on to 8.02 with your new revised or replacement policies.
Yes, Madam President, and I'm going to read these out loud simply because I think it's very important for the public to understand what policies we're working on, what we're revising, and how we're trying to make sure that our district meets all of the state standards as well as our local initiatives. So policy 2460, independent educational evaluations. Policy 4162, drug and alcohol testing of CDL license holders. Policy 1130, administration conflict of interest. Policy 3113, professional staff conflict of interest. Policy 4113, classified staff conflict of interest. Policy 5112, students' entrance requirements. 5200, students' attendance. 5223, program release time for religious instruction. 5330.03, students' procurement and use of asthma inhalers in emergency situations. 6111, finances, internal controls. 6112, finances, cash management of grants. 6110, finances, grant funds. 7300, property, disposition of real property, personal property. 9270, relations, education outside the school, homeschooling, and these are all first reads, Madam President and Board.
Thank you, Superintendent. Since these are first reads, we do not require a motion, but is there any discussion on any of these policies?
I'd just like to call attention to two of them. The one about the release time for religious instruction, that's been brought before the board a couple of times before. And that's one that everyone wants to, who might be interested in that, wants to take a look at. It is the responsibility of the student to get themselves to and from wherever, and they will be given the time to release, but it's also the student's responsibility to do any makeup work.
Absolutely.
So because that has been brought before, the board, we want to call attention to that one, the religious time off of class for religious instruction. And the other one, the education outside of schools. We have had this discussion before with trying to include those students in some of our activities. And I think that that's something that we still need to look at. Just because they're in our district, if their families have made the decision to homeschool them, then, and I think that policy does address that. So, so just those two have to do with education, and I just thought it was necessary to.
Any further discussion? All right, we'll move on to 9.01, Mr. Superintendent, with your recommendations.
Yes, ma'am. The recommendation is to approve personnel schedules as presented. Schedule A, resignations and retirements. Schedule C, support staff. Schedule D, extra duty and supplemental employment. Schedule E, leaves. And There's one more. Schedule B, certificated employment.
I'll make a motion to approve the personnel scheduling as presented.
I'll second that.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour?
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously, and we'll move into 9.02.
9.02, Madam President and Board, is to approve the exempt employee salary schedule effective July 1st, 2016, and the step placement for all exempt employees effective July 1st, 2016 as well.
Board, a motion would be in order.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the exempt employee salary schedule effective July the 1st, 2016, and the step placement for all exempt employees effective July 1st, 2016.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour?
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggles?
Nay.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye. Motion passes, and we'll move into 9.03. Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, Madam President and Board, the recommendation is to approve the certificated staff administrative salary schedule, classified administrative salary schedule, and a placement for all administrators effective August 1st, 2016 as presented.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the certified administrative salary schedules, classified administrative salary schedule, and placement for all administrators effective August 1st, 2016 as presented.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Is there any discussion? I'd just like to go ahead and commend you, Mr. Superintendent, on your strategic effort and placement of our administrators here in our district. I also want to point out for those who are unaware, this year, which was the 15-16 school year, was the first full year that your administrative staff has been in place and operating with the Herculean efforts you have placed upon them.
Use that
and
term again, Madam President.
Herculean.
Oh, that's your
So
strength,
kudos
yes.
to you, kudos to our administrative team. We appreciate everything you do and everything that's been put on your plate to advance our students and our district and our communities forward. So thank you. I intend to vote in favor of this for all the hard work you do and for your strategic effort in placing them.
Thank you, Madam President.
I'd also like to add, I too believe that the superintendent and Mr. Seymour has done an excellent job to try and get our administrative salaries back in line and establish a productive schedule. And I'm supportive of competitive compensation processes, but I need to understand a little bit more. I need to understand how pay increases are associated with performance. And for that, right now, I will not be voting in support of administrative increases at this time.
Any further discussion?
I just want to add that we assign a certain amount to the superintendent to distribute, and it's not our responsibility to look at the administrators' evaluations. That's what we hired you to do. So I'm in favor, based on his recommendation for the increases for his administrators. To that end, he will decide based on what he sees as their performance, their salary increases. So I'm in favor based on entrusting that he has vetted his administrators and vetted the people that will be getting these salary increases.
If I may weigh in too.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm very excited about our administrators being able to implement a new program. It's a powerful program, the project-based learning, that's going to be district-wide, and it's going, as President Miranda brought up, the amount of work and effort to make it successful is going to be critical on our core team. And our goal as board members is to keep that team intact and ready to move forward, and to make sure that this new program that we invest a lot of money in is successful. Because as much as we're proud to be able to start this program. It's much coveted by many districts around us, and would love to be piranhas and take away our strength of intellectual intelligence that most companies rely on. The power of any company is the core competency of its employees. And without them, the success would be hampered and encumbered, and I would be very, very fearful that if our core team was somehow disrupted, it would cause great problems with future success. So during this critical juncture, it's important that we keep our team intact and ready and moving forward, and with the anticipation of success, as I'm sure they're all working for too. But that's something that's really important to me, and I wanted to applaud our superintendent for providing this opportunity for the staff. And I feel very in support. But I just want to make sure that the public knows how important each piece works, along with our teachers. I mean, we can't afford to lose the quality teachers, because that turnover is more disruptive than anything else that can ever come your way, unfortunately. So we want to prevent that as much as possible.
Thank you, Ms. Kuhn. Any further discussion, board?
Yeah, I'd like to weigh in here too as well. Having been on the board now for about 7 months and having been somewhat of an outsider, obviously, prior to that, I am thoroughly excited about the momentum that this school district has going forward, and I thoroughly believe that we will see progress in the very near future, that the community will be surprised to see, hopefully not too surprised. I think the Kiwanis Club recognition, of you going out and meeting with them and talking to them about the projects and the programs that are in place now. Many things just started, this last school year that they're going to impact the results moving forward. This is a large organization. You're talking about 3,600 students, and the ability to change that on a dime is non-existent. I mean, there's a lot of things that have to happen prior to that. Putting the right people in place from an administration standpoint, having taken tours and meeting the administrators at these schools, seeing the engagement that they have with the students within their buildings, seeing schools that have data where they're tracking progress by student, where those students are, in the grand scheme of where they're supposed to be. It gives me a great deal of hope that we are headed in the right direction, and I fully support your recommendation here.
Thank you, Mr. Birdie. Mr. Seymour, would you please call that vote?
Sure. Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggless?
Nay.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye. Motion passes, and we'll now move on to 9.04. Mr. Superintendent, back to you.
Yes, Madam President and Board. I'd like to list a few of the summer programs that will be on tap for our students to make sure we continue on with our academic growth. So there will be elementary reading, elementary math, third grade reading guarantee sessions. There will also be MAP testing in July, English as a second language, science summer camp, middle school grade recovery, high school credit recovery, and there's also a cross-cultural camp with Jianping and Winton Woods, so we like to keep that relationship moving. And then there's that high school phys ed. One thing about the high school phys ed, a lot of students have taken advantage of the waiver opportunity because they participate in other activities. And we didn't do it just so that students could free up phys ed, so that they can take, a more rigorous course. And I'm excited that the students are taking advantage of this opportunity. So the recommendation is to approve the revised summer school program.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the revised 2016 summer school program as presented.
I'll second that.
It's been motioned and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Go ahead.
One at a time, please.
I would like to say that I don't recall ever seeing this many programs for the summer, and I was very surprised to see the number of offerings for the summer, academic offerings for students. So I'd like to just say that I thought that was good.
I would like to echo Mrs. Ruggless's comments, mainly because it's exciting to see students and this runs the gamut. It's just not high school. It goes down to second grade, third grade, fourth grade. the importance that our district is putting towards education and their academics of all of our students and making them successful. Summer's a great time to augment areas that they might not have had time to do during the school year. There's a variety of courses and different things to challenge, from remedial and to try to catch up all the way to advanced. There's I think a superstar for 5th grade science, or science summer camp. So it's neat that there's a wide variety. I would love to see even more camps, more ways that we can engage our community and deliver a product that's solid year in and year out to all of our community. So thank you very much for the energies.
I'd like to just make one other point that I thought maybe one of you two would say, but I will say it. These programs are predominantly free to our students. There is a limit on how many students can enroll. So there are some of the programs they do have to pay for, so pay close attention to that when you look at them. But for the most part, the summer school programs are free. So they don't last all summer. It's just a couple of weeks out of the summer, and like you said, it's a great opportunity to continue to enhance learning when some students wouldn't continue to read or to do math. So the summer school programs are just a great thing. I mean, I think that we do have probably more offerings, but it's been growing steady over the past few years. It should be noted that they are at no cost, but space is limited.
Very much so. Very much so. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
The other thing that I like about the summer school program is that when Mr. Smith did the state of the schools, we talk about everybody moving forward. So it has enrichment along with intervention. And so both of those work to reduce summer learning loss. So I was really excited to see that.
Okay. No further discussion, so Mr. Seymour, would you please call that vote?
Sure. Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggless?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. And we'll now move into 9.05 for our student overnight proposal.
Madam President and Board, this might be a new initiative that we might want to consider. When I explained how the process works where the board approves all trips, they were excited. They're like, we'd like to tell our own story. And not that I would do a terrible job of it, but I've never been to Spain, so maybe I would mess it up a little bit. Just
Mr.
a
Denny,
little.
before we begin, could you get that first row of lights for us? Thank you, sir.
So I think that this will just be a nice way to show what our children will experience so that we can make sure that we're vetting it appropriately. And they were just adamant that they wanted to do this. They've talked to me about this last month. And so I'm excited. And maybe I'll go with them. Who knows? All right.
Hey, it's open. My name is Alicia Kinney. I'm a 4th-year Spanish teacher here at the Winton Woods High School. And this is Charity Sims, and she was actually the student who proposed this trip to myself. So basically what we want to do is talk about why travel is important, where we're going, why we're choosing EF as our travel partner, why this will be a safe approach for our district and our students, kind of what's included as far as pricing and what's not, and why I thought this would be the best deal for our school. And why travel? I'd let Charity start that off.
Hi, I'm Charity Sims. And why travel? I got to experience going with the high school last year to Germany, and I really, really enjoyed going there. Not only did we go to Germany, we got to live with students who went to the schools in Germany and got to live with their families for a good week. And not just having to stay in school and learning about the different cultures, it's very great to go and experience the cultures and be within these cultures. And I think is a very well and good learning experience for students to go out and adventure and learn new things.
some tour highlights for this particular trip. The students will be traveling to Barcelona first and then traveling to Madrid after that. And in two of these pictures, you'll actually see myself when I studied abroad in Spain during my undergrad education. The Palacio Real is in Madrid, and La Sagrada Familia is a cathedral that's still under construction in Barcelona. And the students will be able to go inside and explore both of these locations. And
Do you still have the red dress?
yeah, that's the one picture that I'm not in.
That's what I was going to say. Could you clarify which two pictures you're in?
Well, no, I'm the little one standing in the background. But as far as flamenco goes, our students will have an opportunity to take flamenco dancing lesson and also go to a show in Madrid. So that'll be pretty special. You know, we're all about exploring the world, communicating ideas, recognizing others' perspectives, and taking action. And this trip is that take action piece. This is the going there and actually experiencing it, doing it. And through EF, they'll be able to do actual exploring of the places ahead of time. The trip has built-in reflection time where the students get to talk about what they're learning on the trip, and there's also an after piece that I'll get into a little bit later. But why EF? I actually toured with EF my senior year of high school. We went on a trip to Costa Rica, and actually I'm also in that bottom picture in the red shirt. There's a volcano in the background. You can't really see it. It's covered in clouds. But I absolutely loved the trip. We learned so much. Our travel guide was fantastic. And with EF, we'll have a 24/7 tour guide that's with our group, as well as local guides in the different cities we'll be in. You know, it wasn't just like, okay, we got to go to a hot spring, but we also got to visit schools. And after our school visit, you know, we could have gone back to the hotel, but some local kids were hanging out, and we just started a pickup football game, and we got to play soccer until it was dark. And it was so cool to be able to use the little Spanish that we knew to be able to communicate with kids and just really make that connection. And hopefully our students will have similar experiences, maybe not playing football, but making connections with people in Spain as well. EF's commitment to safety, I know there was concerns with the trip that was proposed last year because it was an individual trip, it wasn't through an organization. With EF, like I said, we'll have the 24-hour tour guide. For every 6 people on the trip, a chaperone is paid for, as well as there are some other teachers in the school that are already signed up to go that can act as chaperones as well. They have a peace of mind policy, which is basically if anything happens, such as like travel warnings or issues or bombings like they had in Belgium or France last year, they can reschedule trips at no cost. There's a global travel protection plan. I have it built into the price for the students, and that covers tour cancellation, interruption, baggage loss, flight delays, illness and accidents abroad, as well as 24-hour access to English-speaking representative, which will help as well. WeShare is what I was mentioning earlier. They have an online site that all the students who are participating can sign up on, and it's basically a pre-travel interactive website where they can go on and write about what their interests are and think of how they can take their interests and make it apply to where they're traveling. And when they come back, they can reflect through a creative project. And our students are all about project-based learning, so they thought this would be really great for them. And it's actually eligible for high school credit. And I can definitely talk with our administrators and figure out how we can make that work. And the students could even get credit for going on this tour, which is kind of sweet. And then as far as what students are responsible for, meals are covered except for lunch, so they would have to bring money for lunch and as well as any souvenirs they wanted to buy. The tour does require bus driver and tour guide tips because they are with us the whole time. It's worth it. I still remember my tour guide's name from Costa Rica, and I can still quote him because he had like these awesome catchphrases. He was just this amazing man. And of course, if they need to buy passports, which at this point in our high school, I feel like a lot of students already have those, so that's a good sign. Like I said, flights are included, hotels with private bathrooms, breakfast and dinner, motor coach, the global travel protection plan, the tour guide. Of course, it's an educational itinerary. We'll be going to lots of educational places as well as fun places. All the entrance fees to all the places we'll be locating will be included, and then there's the WeShare and the platforms that are online to make it a more educational experience. It is expensive. Total for students is almost, and if you include maybe lunch money, it would basically hit the $3,000 mark. That's partly why I wanted to get the ball rolling on this trip so far in advance, so the students have more time to plan for it as far as paying for it. I told everybody who's signed up so far, make sure you get a summer job, and really work on that. One nice thing about EF is they do have an included kind of a GoFundMe website where they don't take the cut out of it like GoFundMe's do. So the money, they can just spread it on social media, see if they can get their grandma and their aunts to chip in a little bit to help for the trips. And partly why I really want the board approval of this is so we can also do some fundraising within the school for the students. And then payment options, they can do a monthly payment, like an auto thing. They can pay manually as they can, or pay in full. And all of the money goes straight through EF. The school doesn't have to deal with any of the money. I will not be asking for a supplemental thing. I'm totally included on this trip. So other than costing the people who want to go on the trip, it really doesn't cost the board or the district any money. It's just the benefits of the students having this opportunity. And if you want to reserve your spot now, there's the tour number. But that's about it.
Thank you.
Are there any questions?
I have one question. So you said you went when you were in high school?
Yes.
So did that spark your interest to become a Spanish teacher?
Partially. It was actually the teacher that led that trip for me was really the key. She was this amazing, bright, bubbly, exciting person. And I'm like, I want to make Spanish that exciting.
I think you are too.
Everyone.
I mean, I'm excited about Spanish. And I don't speak Spanish. I'm like, wow, I wish I'd had you for a Spanish teacher. Maybe I'd have learned Spanish. I don't know. But I just kind of wondered that because you said you went in high school. So I thought,
Well, I've definitely learned a lot about teaching in my 4 years here. And I feel like I've been getting better each year. So it's good. She was going to say one more thing. But we'll just let it be as it is.
Well, good, good. I'm excited.
Me too. And thank you for this robust presentation. It was great, and it seems like a very resourceful partner for the trip as well.
Right, and I do applaud you doing it early and allowing time for the monthly payments as a payment plan to make it more affordable. That's a great way to have a greater offering for more students to participate.
And I was thinking we could make the cutoff this school year, but as things have stretched out a bit, and I talked with EF, and we can basically have up until 150 days before we leave, so I thought we'd make the cutoff at the end of September, so when the fall rolls along, we'll have another interest meeting at the school and see if we can get any more people on board. So right now we've got officially 7 people signed up.
How many are you planning, or how many, what's your capacity?
I'd like to, I mean, technically we can go up through 40, but that sounds a little bit extreme. Hoping maybe up to 20, 25, but we'll see how it happens. So.
And what ages are you going to, is it?
Yeah, that's the thing I was going to say. What I've decided to do is make it so only students who have passed Spanish 2 and above go, or some of the native speakers in our school, some of which have already signed up, which I'm really excited about. I think it'll be an awesome opportunity for some of our Spanish learning students to be in a location where the ESL students actually have the advantage and kind of to feel that recognizing other perspectives. Oh, wow, it's really weird when you're in a different country and you don't have that as your first language. So, yeah, so I thought that'd be best. With Spanish 2, they will have already learned past tense and commands, which hopefully that way they'll be able to listen to commands in Spanish if they hear them better, and we'll be able to learn more about the history and understand what's going on with that as well.
So for Spanish 2 students, can they be in the 9th through 12th? Is there a range?
Well, it'll have to be sophomores at the youngest, just because a freshman can be in Spanish 2, but to have passed Spanish 2, you will already have been a sophomore.
Right. I didn't
so
know
it's
if
basically
maybe
sophomores and above.
Some more advanced in the 8th grade or things like
I don't
that.
think it's offered at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I've still been a little up in the air. I think I'd rather it was the upperclassmen, just as far as responsibility and maturity levels. But, I mean, it is in the spring, so they would have learned quite a bit of the past tense. You did. I think I'd like to leave it as it is with having past Spanish 2 for now, and then like see how numbers go, and maybe when we come back in the fall, we can discuss it.
Okay.
Way to go.
Very good.
Fantastic.
So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, Board, a motion would be in order for this overnight proposal.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the proposal for overnight extended student trip to, I guess it's Spain, not just Barcelona, that's to Spain, in the spring of 2017, spring break.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion?
One thing I since we are a global school, I just want our people that are watching at home, there are tons of opportunities. It's not just this year, but in the past. Our students have gone to Switzerland, they've gone to Germany, they've had China, they've had many global opportunities, and I think as we go along, it's something that we would like to do more and more. I think our students benefit immensely from this cultural immersion, and they see a lot of things that they wouldn't necessarily see here all the time. My son and husband went to Switzerland, and then we took our son to Barcelona last year after he graduated. So we got to feel, we let him interpret for us, which was really wasn't scary. It's scary for us a little bit, but it is fun. So it's a great way when your children go here, and you get a great overall benefit. You don't pay for private education. You can spend your money on either private lessons or travel abroad and enhance that opportunity. So that would be my pitch for public education.
I like it.
Any further discussion?
I like it.
All right, seeing none, Mr. Seymour.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye, motion passes unanimously. We'll move on to 9.06, Mr. Superintendent.
Yes, Madam President and Board, before Dr. Johnson reads the resolution, I'd like to make one comment that Ms. Flanagan asked about as it relates to technology. In our prior makeup days, it mentions blizzard bags, and that's a term that was used in the educational format. With the technology that we're talking about enhancing, kids will be able to get their lessons and respond to teachers' requests much quicker than having a packet that goes home. So it's not just about the new tech experience, it's about how to keep our kids engaged in technology while learning at the same time. So, Dr. Johnson?
Yes, I am going to read the resolution for the Calamity Days. This is our alternative makeup plan. Whereas the Winton Woods City School District Board of Education desires students have learning opportunities even when schools are closed for any other reasons specified in section 3313.482 of the Ohio Revised Code, and whereas section 3313482 authorizes a Board of Education to file annual plans with the Ohio Department of Education by August the 1st of each year to provide learning opportunities for students in lieu of attendance on such days of closure. Now therefore be it resolved that Winton Woods City School District Board of Education hereby approves the following plan and authorizes its filing with the Ohio Department of Education. And this plan, as it can be summarized, just basically says just what superintendent says. The work will be contingent upon them having the technology to do it without having to do, big thick packets that will go home and will be basically online. So and then they can actually communicate with their teacher back and forth electronically based on that. So.
Yes, thank you.
Motion would be in order.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution adopting a Calamity Day alternative makeup plan for school year 2016-17.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call the vote?
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye, motion passes unanimously. Superintendent, 9.07.
Yes, Madam President and Board. The recommendation is to approve the revised district calendar. No, I'm sorry. Yes, the revised district calendar for school year 2016-17.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the revised district calendar for school year 2016-17 as presented.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour?
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. 9.08.
Yes, Madam President and Board, is the recommendation is to approve the exempt, no, that is not it. We are on athletics.
Yes.
Yes.
9.08.
To, mine doesn't say that. The recommendation is to approve the authorization of the 2016-17 membership in the Ohio High School Athletic Association.
And I can read that if you would like.
Yes.
The Board of Education
Sure.
governing board resolutions authorizing the 2016-17 membership in the Ohio High School Athletic Association, whereas Winton Woods City Schools, 1215 West Kemper Road, Cincinnati, Ohio, Hamilton County, Ohio, has satisfied all the requirements for membership in the Ohio High School Athletic Association, a voluntary unincorporated association, not for profit. And whereas the Board of Education governing board and its administrative desire for the school with one or more grades at 7th through 12th grade level under their jurisdiction to be voluntary members of the OHSAA, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Education and governing board that all schools listed in the revised side of the card to do hereby voluntarily renew membership in the OHSAA, and that in doing so, the Constitution and bylaws of the OHSAA are hereby adopted by the board as and for its own minimum student athletic eligibility requirements. Notwithstanding the foregoing, the board does reserve the right to raise the student athletic eligibility standard as the board deems appropriate for the schools and students under its jurisdiction, and be it further resolved that the schools under the board's jurisdiction agree to conduct their athletic program in accordance with the Constitution, bylaws, regulations, interpretations, and decisions of the OHSAA, and to cooperate fully and timely with the Commissioner's Office of the OHSAA in all matters related to the interscholastic athletic programs of the school. Furthermore, the schools under this board's jurisdiction shall be the primary enforcers of the OHSAA Constitution, bylaws, and sports regulations, and the interpretations and rulings rendered by the Commissioner's Office. The administrative heads of these schools understand that failure to discharge the duties of primary enforcement may result in fines, removal from tournaments, suspension from membership, and or other such penalties as prescribed in bylaw 11. Date of resolution May the 23rd, 2016.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution authorizing 2016-17 membership in the Ohio High School Athletic Association as presented.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call that vote?
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously, and we will now move into 9.09.
Yes, Madam President and Board, the recommendation is to approve the board resolution accepting the Ohio School Facilities Commission establishment of the new scope, estimated basic project cost, and local share in the Classroom Facilities Assistance Program.
Now, this one is a very long one, so I'm going to summarize it and ask that you read this particular
But you were
one.
anxious to read all these resolutions, Dr.
Yes, I really, yes, I really was anxious to read them all. The essence of this one is just as one of our community members, Mr. Cleary, came on and said,
the state share has gone up and the local share has gone down. So it's about 50 cents on the dollar, and that's what this resolution is about. It just kind of explains that this money is purposed for that cause and for that cause only. It cannot be used for anything else. So this resolution is just basically saying we're holding our place in line. Okay, it would be no different than us going and saying, I've got this item, I'm standing in line in the store, I need to run back and get something else. Will you stand in line for me so that I don't lose my place in line? Excellent. So basically that's what it is. We're holding our place in line for these dollars so that some other school district who may also be in need of repairs don't scoop in and, you know, take our place in line, and then we go back to the end of the line to, you know, sign up. So
Thank you for that summary. Did I hear a motion with that as well?
I'll make a motion to approve the board resolution accepting the Ohio School Facilities Commission establishment of the new scope, estimated basic project cost, and local share in the Classroom Facilities Assistance Program. Last.
I would second that.
Any further discussion? I would just like to reiterate what Dr. Johnson so eloquently summarized, and thank you for not reading the entire thing. I do appreciate that. But yes, this is in essence, as Dr. Johnson said, as Mr. Cleary spoke of earlier, accepting our new reevaluated rates and keeping our place in line, because that would be very unfortunate for us as a board and fiscal stewards of our community as we're elected to be, to lose our place in line for something like this, especially since it's went so far up, which is a huge advantage to our community. So I'd also just like to say I had a few points that I wanted to make sure I touched on. We are the fiscal elected servants of this school board. It is our responsibility to put forth to the community what is best for them. Voting on this resolution this evening is important, although not important in terms of placing this on the ballot, because that is not what this resolution does, but in unity and solidarity to keep our options open to our community whom we serve. School buildings increase student achievement. It's proven with data. Keeping our place in line to receive half of our new school project paid in full by the state of Ohio, furthermore the OSFC, is not something we want to miss out on. And as a board member of this district, it would be in good faith, not only fiscally for our fiscal responsibility, but as well as in good faith of student achievement and the communities we serve. Any further discussion?
May I speak to Ms.?
Yes.
One other point is that we would, as a board, would be remiss if we didn't keep this option available to our community. These are tax dollars that our community paid to Columbus, and if we refuse that opportunity for it to come back and benefit us directly, I feel very strongly that we would be in not doing our jobs properly. So this is just one step along the way that guarantees our place in line, as already stated. But it's really important for that money to come back and serve the people that contributed that to the state. So.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call the vote?
Sure. Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. And for your last report, Mr. Superintendent, we will move into 9.10.
Yes, Madam President, Board. The recommendation is to approve the Winton Woods Teachers Association contract as presented, with the exception of the table of contents, which will be amended once deleted language is removed.
Board, a motion would be in order.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Winton Woods Teachers Association contract as presented, with the exception of the table of contents, which will be corrected.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. And we will move into 10.01. Thank you, Mr. Superintendent and Dr. Johnson, for all of your reading efforts this evening. You have in front of you my legislative report for today. May 23rd, 2016. There are 6 points on here, and it is also accompanied by the briefcase publication produced by OSBA. You do get this publication via email, but since I'm directly citing some things on that publication, I provided it to you. So number 1, regarding House Bill 438, the Ohio House passed HB 438 last week by a vote of 84-1 in favor of this. So this bill would designate the week prior to the week of Thanksgiving as Ohio Public Education Appreciation Week. So that's pretty significant and neat that they passed that. Second item is the Senate Education Committee, which heard testimony on HB 410 last week, which would prevent districts from expelling or suspending students for truancy and would require districts to establish absent intervention teams. So this is obviously something that I know our superintendent's keeping an eye on, as this would affect us. Number 3, probably one of the biggest pieces that have happened in the last couple weeks is we now have a new state superintendent for the Ohio Department of Education. Paolo DeMaria was named as the state superintendent. You'll see in this publication that I attached, a little summary about Mr. DeMaria. He was selected unanimously from 44 candidates. He was a veteran of Ohio education policy who most recently served as principal consultant for Education First Consulting. He has also served as an Ohio Board of Regents member and in many other capacities listed there for you to see under former governors Voinovich and Taft. Moving on to number 4 from the Ohio Supreme Court. This one's big. The Ohio Supreme Court has ruled that email communications will be classified and open to the scrutiny of the Ohio Open Meetings Act, which prohibits private or prearranged discussion of public business by a majority of members of any public body, including boards of education, city councils, villages, etc. Number 5, we had a woman by the name of Nancy P. Hollister who served briefly as Ohio's first female governor, and she has now been appointed to the Ohio State Board of Education into the seat that was vacated last year by the resignation of Bob Hagan. And then last but not least, you heard me report on the sales tax holiday in April. Here are the specific dates that I promised to bring to you. So the sales tax holiday this year will run from August 5th through the 7th, and this is sales tax that is being suspended on back-to-school items such as clothing, school supplies, and instructional materials. So this is great for both our students, their families, and our staff as well. Keep in mind, too, that the sales tax holiday also applies to mail, telephone, and online purchases, which you'll also see there in your publication. And that concludes my legislative report. And we have already heard from Mr. Cleary, so we will move on to board comments. Mrs. Kuhn, any comments from you this evening?
Yes, this is a very busy time of the year with the celebration of the academic progress and the celebration of graduations and the movement on to the next level. I had the opportunity to enjoy several graduating and honors awards at the middle school. It was very exciting to see the number of parents that turned out to celebrate the success of their children. And it's very exciting and invigorating to kind of view it as not the direct parent, but still to enjoy the benefit of that awards. And at the high school with underclassmen and then the seniors recognition. The Top Scholars is a great opportunity, and I want all of our students to aspire to graduate as top honors, and that's the honors diploma that the state of Ohio puts forth. So the earlier you know what your requirements are, and it's outlined in a booklet in our district, and it's on the website, plan accordingly. So I think this year we had 15, 16. I think Mr. Martin committed to 30, so we were going to have to help him with that goal. So I'm very excited with meeting those levels and exceeding them, because that's what it's about, giving our children the opportunity to move forward and do whatever they want to do in life. But that was very exciting. There's a lot of success, so I was very thrilled to be able to see that.
Thank you, Mrs. Kuhn. Mr. Birdie?
Yeah, I'll just echo that. I mean, attending the 2016 Honors Diploma Scholars Dinner and hearing our students talk about the teachers that have been influential in their life in their academics as well as their personal lives. I mean, those relationships were real and they're strong, and it's it's important for us to see that and know that we have teachers who truly care about the students that they're dealing with on both a personal and an academic level. And I'm looking forward to Thursday night graduation too.
Thank you, Mr. Birdie. Dr. Johnson?
Yeah, just the same. I do want to thank all the volunteers as we come toward the end of the school year. We can't do this by ourselves. We really do need the people who volunteer as mentors, who come in and help us, some of the people who were recognized that come in and help us at the football games and at the various events, the people who just give of their time and their effort, and everybody knows time is precious, we don't have a lot of it, and when people come in and give their time, just to say thank you to all those volunteers, and also as the school year comes to a close, just to let the staff and the teachers and the administrators know how much we really appreciate the work that they do. Sometimes it can feel like a thankless job. Nobody says thank you. Everybody loves to complain. Nobody comes up with solutions. Complaining is easy, but if you don't have a solution to some of the complaints, it's like going into the air empty. So just to let the people who make this work for us know that we really do appreciate what you do. And that's not to say that we don't have some things that we need to work on to get better at, maybe to monitor. There's a saying that says people do what's inspected, not what's expected. So maybe we need to do some more inspection of some things. We heard some public comments today, and maybe that needs to be inspected. We need to do that. But we do appreciate what you do for the district. So just to say thank you. And I don't know, as a teacher at the end of the year, we all get a little sentimental. If you're a real teacher, you do. And at the beginning of the year, you get butterflies just like you haven't been doing it for 25 years or 30 years. It's just what it is. If it's really in your blood, that's what it is. At the end of the school year, you're kind of a little anxious because it's coming to a close. And then at the beginning of the school year, you get butterflies, like walking in that classroom isn't something that you've done, for, a number of years. And it's the same way with the staff and with the administrators. So just to say thank you for that. So, and looking forward to graduation. I love going to graduations. What can I say? It's a celebration, and the people are always excited. So I get excited too. So
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Mrs. Ruggles?
Yes, I'd like to echo what was said. One of the things that always gets me as an educator and helping students become their best is to be able to get to the end of the year and see all of the hard work that has paid off. And that's one thing that I have to say, when you get to that end of the year and you see the students that have crossed the finish line, it's definitely something to feel really good about getting up and doing the job that we all do each day. The dinner is one of the best practices that I've seen in the district because it's a combination of celebrating the students, but also it's helping them really remember to give back. One of the things that I remember Mr. Martin saying is, now that you have been touched, it's time for you to go back and plant a seed in the community, because oftentimes with our community, it depends on your experience, and your experience is what you share to others. So those young people and those parents and those teachers are in a position to share their experience. It was also good to see the community show up at the awards ceremony. It was so many different organizations that came there. It was really good to see the fraternity show up and say that this is something that is important. And I was, it's a wonderful event. But I also want to say that there's a parent in the district. Her name is Cassandra Cooper. I work with her, but she actually is working with the Hamilton County Fair. So we met. There's a lot of different things that she's trying to do with that organization. They're really trying to revive what's going on, and they have a choir competition that they're going to have, and she asked me to share the information such that if Winton Woods want to get into the competition, it's an opportunity to raise money, because we know we have a stellar choir, and there's first place, second place, and third place monetary prizes. So I'll pass that on to you, Mr. Smith, so you can send it to whomever. And that's it.
All right, thank you. I believe I've said most of my comments previously in the meeting, so I just want to leave you, my colleagues here on the board and out in the audience, with a quote. And this quote I found online today, and it really touched me. So it's transparency is a cornerstone of good governance, as it allows citizens everywhere to hold institutions and governments accountable for their policies and performance. And this hit me in my heart tonight, because transparency is really what this board strives to achieve. Transparency is what our administrators are prescribed with in their day-to-day operations. And transparency is what will prove to the folks here in our community and to our communities, period, what is really happening here in our district, and that it's phenomenal and worthy of praise instead of criticism. So I'll just leave you with that. Mr. Superintendent, anything you'd like to say?
No, thank you.
Mr. Treasurer?
No, thank you.
All right. I don't see anyone from Teachers Association or OPSE. Is that correct, Ms. Wilson? And there is no need for an executive session this evening, so we thank you all for your attendance and staying with us the entire time. Congratulations to all of our graduates. We'll see you Thursday, and have a wonderful and safe summer break. We are adjourned.